Hi guys, Carcer back again with our few games of Battlefleet Gothic Armada 2. So this time we are going to be jumping back into a actual competitive fleet in the Blood Axe, mostly battle cruiser. Basically it's 4 hammer battle cruisers with 2 terror cruisers, and then a bunch of onslaughts for the escorts. Did have a couple more games using the Rocks fleets, which are a bit of a disaster. I remember one of the things that was poor about the Rocks, actually, that I hadn't considered, was that they are actually only cruisers, and so having a small amount of them means you're extremely susceptible to having your crew killed via boarding actions. Not to mention the fact that you lose an entire crew step every time that you execute mutineers. So had a couple of games against Tyranids and, well, Dark Eldar of all things, which went disastrously. I think I'll post those in a separate video. Just the Rocks getting absolutely wrecked. So back into something a bit better this time. We're going to be facing off against Real Man. I think he might have been the Dark Eldar guy who murdered my Rocks, come think of it. But yeah, he's going to be flying a Dark Eldar fleet against me. Just looking at the points. Points are kind of spreading a line across the middle of the map, which is okay. That's not a total disaster. At least they're not just dotted around all over the map. You know, they're kind of restricted in the area. So those 3 central points should be fairly easy to defend, especially since there's a lot of gas cloud and asteroid fields around there, so I can re-stealth my ships if it turns into one of those kind of matches. Although hopefully what we're going to end up with is a more of a straight up fight. So it looks like 4 ships. So I'm not sure if he's got any escorts. Hopefully not. That'll certainly help with the stealth game. If he's just rocking like what 3, I suppose it could be like 3 battleships and an escort. Although normally I think with Dark Eldar, if they've got 3 battleships, they can afford 2 escorts. Maybe it could be 3 battleships and a light cruiser possibly. But we'll see. So I've got 2 escorts going up the right hand side. The remaining escorts will be moving up just left of my main fleet. Just try and get some caps in. Although I suspect the enemy's going to get there well ahead of me since I'm not boosting. But you know, at least we know where they are. So with Dark Eldar, obviously it's all about getting them spotted and keeping them spotted. As long as you're shooting at them, then they're can take a huge amount of damage. Once they're revealed, they don't really have any defense, and so you can do some pretty nasty damage with mega cannons, heavy cannons. They're obviously very weak to boarding as well. Okay, so single light cruiser? I think it's a light cruiser. Didn't have my main fleet on hold fire, so unfortunately I did give my position away there. So they're able to get the jump and I just couldn't grab him with the tractor cannon there. That's unfortunate. Although I think he probably would have re-stealthed anyway, which would have broken the tractor. So that's a bit of a pity. Kind of fucked up there. Probably should have had my escorts a little bit closer, or at least one escort closer to my main fleet, so that I could get a beacon off. So it looks like the enemy has gone for a torpedo heavy build rather than the usual impaler spam that you get with Dark Eldar. Damn it! Just managed to slip away there again. Which is why I should have had the escort in to pop a scanner pulse, which would have prevented this from happening. And once you do get them spotted, well, scanner pulse, so they can't really evade, then it's very easy to keep eyes on them with this fleet, because you just chuck a bunch of fighters on them. And if you do that, you know, worst case scenario, they'll go into brace for impact and kill them, but then, you know, with enough volume, it'll take a while to do that. And the good thing about that is, while they're in brace for impact, then they're not in reload and causing the stupid DPS that these Dark Eldar ships can. Right, so we do catch him this time, so that's fine. Get a few boarding actions off on the flagship. Should be targeting the decks for these. Again, targeting engines with Dark Eldar ships, you would think that would be the way to go, but it's actually not that effective because they've got redundancy backup engines. Same with the Corsairs and probably the Ashirani as well. With Corsairs and Ashirani, you want to take out their generators, take down their holofields. But that doesn't work with the shadow fields on the Drukhari ships, so deck's usually best. They don't have particularly great morale.
We came, we saw, we wrecked it.
So we're just going to move these, or at least one of these escorts up here, try and capture this point. Doesn't seem like my opponent is overly going for the capping game. I think he does feel like he's wanting to fight, which is good. That works for me. Just had a brief drop of the shadow field up in the top of the map. So all of my ships are now re-stealthed. I think the only thing I've got visible at the moment is the one escort that's capping the right hand point, so I'm just going to start heading back towards that direction because I reckon he'll probably try and dive on it. But if he goes for the rear of my fleet, then great, that works too. I mean, he still knows roughly where I am, considering how slow these ships are. So he manages to get the disruption bomb off. I think I'm not going to try and run, I'm just going to engage this light cruiser with my two escorts. Okay, here he is. Right, so it's going to drop a stasis there. And hopefully... okay, it's the flagship actually just mutinied anyway. That was a bit of a waste. Another volley of torps. Nice damage with the torps. He has got the is it vibro torpedo upgrade, so that actually does stop you from moving for a couple of seconds after you're hit by any torpedoes, which is a pretty decent ability. So yeah, those two escorts are making short work of that light cruiser. Since he's not moving around. It's got one final boarding action off with that ship. And I've now got this nearest one bracketed, but his health is pretty low and he's on fire, so he'll be dead shortly. Now goes the mutiny. Flagship's already dead, so he's got no chance to rally him. Okay. So that went pretty well. It was a little bit sloppy. I definitely would have been better served to put one or two escorts just along with my cruisers, because I basically could have just popped a scanner pulse in that very first engagement when the battleships originally dived on me, and then that would have been. I probably could have caught two of them in a stasis bubble along with using the tractor cannon and just taking them out immediately. Which is the problem with Dark Eldar facing orcs, is you have to get uncomfortably close in order to hit them, do any damage. So, in this second game, we're going to be facing off against Blue, who is going to be flying the Tau merchant fleet. Blue's a very good player. He's very experienced. I think he might have been number 1 in season 3, back when the Tyranids were OP as fuck. So yeah, that's how I know this guy. He was a really good Tyranid player. Don't think I've fought him when he's been using Tau before, so it'll be interesting to see what he's come up with. Hopefully not just cruiser spam, but to be honest, this fleet that I've got is very well equipped to deal with the seeker missile / fighter / manta spam that those cruisers put out. Okay, so he's deployed up in the top right. We do have a nice cluster of 3 points there on the left hand side, so we're just going to send some escorts up to start capturing them since he's the bulk of his fleet. Oh, right, okay. Whole bunch of demiurg. So it looks like he's putting out a nice brace of fighter craft to scout, so I can't see really any holes in this. I suppose I probably could have avoided it if it'd been like mushed up right against one side of the map or the other. I could have avoided that. But I was counting on him thinking I was going to be over at the left hand side, because that's where the cluster of points are. But he actually deployed on the opposite side, and I think he's now just checking to make sure that I'm not heading straight towards him, which is obviously what I was doing. So one of these fighter groups has stopped, so I'm just going to move up here and see if I can avoid the rest of them. I do get identified by that one fighter group, unfortunately. I was paying too much attention to my... Oh, okay. Well, I guess there is another one. Well, that's me spotted then. That's okay, so we'll kill this group of fighters. We'll just boost the fleet over here and re-stealth them in this gas cloud. Hopefully take out that other group of fighters while we're at it. Okay, he's started to recall now. But now he knows where I am, it's going to be pretty simple for him to to keep me spotted. So it looks like he's got the bulk of his fleet sitting in the asteroid field, obviously, just get his cutting beams charged up. So I can expect them to be coming at me. But again, that's this kind of works because he's got this this fleet of demiurg. He is going to want to use his cutting beams, which I suspect will cause him to play a little bit more aggressively than he really should against a brawling orc fleet like what I've got. Like, the cutting beam's good, but it's kind of better against low model count fleets where you can kind of use the cutting beam to snipe down, you know, like a battleship or something. Against this kind of fleet, even if he does concentrate his fire and takes out one ship, then it's still going to be facing fire from the rest of them. And although they are reasonably good brawlers, especially with the the torpedoes they've got. I mean, they've got torpedoes, they've got lances, they've got macros, they've got hangar bays and the cutting beams. So they're pretty capable ships, the demiurg, and probably will be unbreakable as well. While the flagship is presumably stealthing around the place. No sign of it yet, but there is going to be a Tau-like cruiser knocking about somewhere. So captured the bottom right point, captured center point, far left, and now we're just going to go and capture the other one to make up that triangle on the left hand side of the map. I am taking lance fire from the demiurgs now, but as long as I keep my front to them, then they're not going to be able to get any engine crits, which is the really dangerous thing. Okay, so it's a bunch of fighters and one bomber. That's fine, I can just capture all them with my own fighters. And I'll see if we can send one. Yes, managed to get one fighter wing snuck through, try and get some vision on him. I'm currently sitting in lock-on stance. Might have been better to start off in yeah, to start off in reload, just so once I get into this situation where I'm no longer stealth, I can kind of boost up the map quicker. But it shouldn't make much of a difference. So jump into reload now, because it's just going to be a case of chasing down these ships now to get into to a good engagement. We should be able to pin him up in the top left hand corner there, because they're not particularly quick, the demiurge ships. That's the one thing. They do turn well, but they're not fast in a straight line. So a few of my escorts are going to eat it, unfortunately, but I have already captured all 3 of those points over there. So I've got 4 in total at the moment against his 1. I'm just sending my right hand escort up to back up the 1 point that he currently holds. Ah, there he is. Okay, so there's the admiral ship. I'm not quite sure why he spotted. Oh yeah, I dropped the scanner pulse. Okay, so now we have the whole enemy fleet revealed. So let's see if we can catch a couple of them in a stasis bubble. Maybe I'll clip one. Okay, that was fine. So we've caught one ship. We did get a little bit of damage with the tractor ram. So just going to put winter boarding actions onto him, and then try and engage the rest of the fleet. So here he comes now. I'm guessing that the cutting beams are going to be coming in now. Luckily, my flagship is blocked, so the cutting beams won't be going to him. Okay, so yeah, took about half damage from that. Ate some torpedoes as well. And here's a couple more cutting beams. Are they going to be able to get him right down? No, he split his fire, so he didn't quite finish off that one ship, although he's going to die to a fire right now. But now he's got these 2 ships here. I'm just going to wait till he tries to boost away, and then I'm going to fuck up those plans. Nice. So they're holding up pretty well. Certainly don't have the once the cutting beams go on, they don't have quite the damage output capabilities that my ships do. Especially when I should gang up on them like this. Alright, try and trap those 2, or at least force them to boost away in some direction or another. Tempting to try and drag him back in, but actually I see an opportunity if I can get him revealed to, let's just have the enemy flagship join the party. Could have dragged him into the stasis bubble, but I think it's his way to disappear in a second anyway, so I don't want it interfering with the macro and mega cannon shots. Just missed there with the ram, but that's fine. I'll send one ship after him, and I'll have the remaining ships go out, keep on the demiurge. Oh, it looks like they've mutinied anyway. Okay, so we've basically just got one functional demiurge left. And I think he's going to try and protect his admiral ship. Opportunity for another tractor ram there, and that pops a mutiny on the flag as well. That's great. Trying to do a bit of ramming damage, but that's the GG. Does manage to intercept my strike craft there. So that was a fun match. I don't often see a full demiurge fleet. Normally it's sort of a mix of demiurge and balls. But yeah, I guess that gives you quite a bit more mobility. Space miners, yeah, just 5. Bastion, light cruiser, can't pronounce that. A couple of escorts. Okay, and now for the third and final match, we are facing off against Real Man again in his Dark Eldar. So this map, well, it's not quite so good for me in terms of the points. I mean, at least all the points are kind of clustered onto the right hand side of the map, and they're not everywhere, but they're still fairly well spread out. There's no 2 points that are even remotely close to each other. So, especially after he wasn't able to win the brawl in the last game, I suspect he's probably going to go for the cap game. Although if he's, plus if he's got the same fleet, then that's what, 3 battleships plus the light cruiser. So yeah, he's got plenty of options to cap and cap quickly. So I found a bit of tea. So it's going to be important for me to try and keep on him. If we do engage. So I'll just cap these 2 nearest points with my escorts, then have them move up and join the main fleet. And try and provide some spotting. Kind of bollocksed up my grouping there, didn't actually select them as group 1. Okay, it's got a beacon flying out. Looks like it's going straight for me. Don't think I'm going to be able to avoid that, unfortunately. Maybe if it boosted straight to the, well, not boosted straight to the right, but done a 90-degree turn to the right, could maybe have slipped out of its way, but it doesn't matter. I'm kind of planning to jump on him when he caps that that central point anyway. Plus, it's not like he really has any long-range weapons with which he can fuck with me if I do get spotted. So, and once you get into the top half of the map, there is plenty of gas clouds around those top 2 points to hide in amongst. So just going to send out a brace of fighters. Fairly happy that he's probably got the same fleet again and not an impaler fleet, so I'm not super fussed about the fighters being used defensively. Yep, looks like he's exactly the same again. Yep, torpedoes, good. Thought I'd have learned a lesson from the last game and not just spunk the fighters away. Oh dear, okay, so it looks like we've got one of the battleships over here. So that must have been 2 battleships and the light cruiser, and then that's the 1 battleship down the bottom right there, okay. Okay. Well, escorts are dead, but they've managed to do a good bit of damage to that battleship, so that's fine, although unfortunately we are going to lose the bottom right capture point. But we can always back cap it. Another brace of fighters, hopefully it'll get him revealed long enough. See, he's just run away again. So eat a few torps, but it's not a big deal. Looks like we're not taking much in the way of severe crit damage. No engine crits yet, which is thankful. So we're just going to turn my fleet away, and hopefully that'll entice him in. Alright, recalling all fighters. Okay, now. Oh god damn, those hollow fields. Shadow fields even. Okay, right. Drop the boarding actions on the light cruiser, and then we'll just concentrate the guns. Okay, we do have a squadron of fighters on the flagship now. He has gone into, this is what I was talking about before, he's gone to brace for impact now, which is good. So I've forced him to brace for impact, which means his firepower is severely reduced. I'm just going to try and keep that vision up and chip away. All my ships are in lock-on, so I've got a good 9k range for the mega cannons. And I think about 13 to 18 for the for some of the guns batteries in the front there as well. Alright, so light cruiser gets wrecked. Should probably have held off on that tractor, but then if it hadn't, he would have just, yeah, he would have got away and stealthed himself anyway, so at least I got a few extra shots in with that.
The enemy is seizing one of your strategic areas.
Okay, looks like we're stuck with a beacon. Or are we? Yes, we are stuck with a beacon. That's a shame. Okay, another volley of torps coming in. Fairly diffuse though. We'll probably kill a few of them before they hit, so I imagine we'll only take 1 or 2 of these. Oh, I think we actually took out all of them. Oh, we had a squadron of fighters out, that's why. Excellent. So, enemy flagship is not looking great. We have fallen significantly behind in the points game, but until we can get at least a couple of these guys completely crippled or dead, there's no point in trying splitting up. So you'll still be able to nuke any lone ships very quickly. So I'll just peel 1 ship off, go for that top point, and try and keep the rest of them together along the flag. Start heading back. Because I know there's the enemy flagship down there who's probably going to be heading for the center now. Yeah, I don't think I've killed any of the enemy battleships yet. Okay, so there's one in the center. Actually, there's no point in me stealthing him because he's going to get revealed as soon as he starts capping that top right point, but whatever. So just keep some fighters down here. Just try and make it as difficult as possible for him to remain stealthed. Cocked up again and pulled him out. I forgot if I need to get the control group sorted out. So I don't keep selecting him and telling him to move the rest of the fleet. So now I've got 1 ship peeled off again, who's going to be heading down to the bottom right hand point. There we go, this fighter's got a nice reveal off on the enemy battleship. But he manages to stealth before. Yeah, so he's gonna unfortunately avoid the bubble. Great, didn't take any more hits in those torpedoes either.
area.
So the enemy flagship, I'm pretty sure, is still down at the bottom right. He might be heading up to try and get behind my main fleet in the centre there. So enemy's got a pretty hefty lead on points at the moment, but so far we haven't lost any of our line ships, just the escorts, which are now gone, unfortunately. Okay, this is good. We've got an engagement with 2 of the enemy ships, but right on top of them. Dragging in for a sweet tractor slam there. And get a couple of boarding actions off as well, although, god, he got nuked as he came past. Must have eaten a critical from the mega cannon on the leftmost ship there. So, we're now ahead on the on number of capture points held, but I think we're going to need more than that in order to pull ahead at this point. Because that's him on 1850 points, coming up for 2000, while we're just down on 1100. I think really the smart thing for the enemy to do at this point would be to just try and play the cap game and just go after the isolated ships rather than actually trying to engage my primary fleet. So I'm thinking this is probably GG at this point. I was thinking that he had one less ship than he actually did. And then that fucker managed to get away again. So luckily we've got one ship stealthed up here just for a surprise fighter squadron. Wasn't able to directly target the ship though, so unfortunately he's going to get out of that spawning zone in a second. So the single ship in the top, while all this excitement's going on, he's going to go and capture that top left hand point. Ah, there's the enemy flag who just appeared down the bottom there. Good stuff. And he manages to re-stealth. So we got some, 5 boarding actions. Things that'll take him down a crew steps. I don't want that to happen, so I'm just going to go into call to arms. I mean, that enemy flagship is on just a sliver of health, so if he reappears again anywhere near that ship, he's probably going to die. So, decisions. So the one crippled ship I'm going to leave next to that central point. He's currently sitting on burn retros, so he's not going anywhere. Ah, here we go. Unfortunately, he just spot. But that's okay. We've now got a squadron of fighters on him. And that means we'll... yeah, okay, he dies anyway. Fine. Okay, so we have lost one ship now. Okay, that boarding action has been dealt with, so we can just start cruising over to the bottom left hand point. So I'm pretty sure now all that's left is the enemy flagship. We're sitting on 4 points to his 1, although he's up on 2300 points currently. So I think this is going to be close. A bit of a nail biter. Yeah, looks like he's wanting to go for the engagement. Takes out another one of my ships, which puts him up to 2500 points. Thankfully ARC ships are cheap. Okay, surely this is it now. Can't get away this time. Yeah, caught him just as he boosted, so just a couple more shots in. Ah, but then the flagship mutinies! That was a near disaster. Yeah. Was that a hit? I thought that killed him. I thought that should have been his last ship. I think, yeah, he must have snuck away and just, Jesus, about 1/10 of a health bar. That's crazy. Oh man. Okay, so now the race is really on. Yeah, if I don't get that bottom left-hand capture point, at least decapped, then I think he could still win this. Jesus, it's tense. So I'm definitely thankful that in this match I had the Blood Axe Cruiser Battlecruiser fleet with all those hangar bays rather than the Evil Suns. Evil Suns fleet would have just been absolute garbage in this match. Although that being said, the battleship Ordsgard Daka with Evil Suns, if paired up with a an escort, pop off a scanner pulse, is definitely better equipped to defend itself against Dark Eldar battleships if it's out on its own. But you know, if he were to group up all of his ships, then he could quite easily gank it. Okay, so he's made it up to the top right, but that's cool because we've got the bottom left uncapped. Whew, final ticks. He was on 2,644, so he was just 50 points off the win there. Oh man, that was close. Alright, so that was some good games then. Some nice competitive matches. Also good to see Blue playing again. He's still pretty high up on the leaderboards at the moment. But yeah, I haven't fought him since, God, yeah, I think about season 3. Oh well, it's a fun matchup. Okay, right, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next one.